Oh, science communication is the most important thing ever, okay? And that's kind of my big deal. My name is David Polson, and I'm the Senior Associate Director of Michigan State University's Knight Center for Environmental Journalism. What I don't like is when people tell me that science is boring or science is hard, because we deal with boring and hard every day. Politics can be boring and can be very difficult to explain. So can economics. Well, science can be difficult to explain, but we can get there. We've proven that we can tell difficult stories, so we can tell the science story just like anyone else. This is very much an experimental class, first time we've ever taught it. And so this semester we decided that there's a lot of interest across campus, across, frankly, diverse majors. We kind of start the class out with some exercises where we're focusing on what I think are just two real fundamentals of science communication. The first being engagement, because if I don't have your attention, I don't have anything. We're going nowhere with that story. And then the other is focus. So in science is so incredibly significant to understanding the world, to advancing our societies. And what I don't like is this kind of default to, yeah, science is important, good thing scientists are taking care of it. Let's let those elite scientists, those real smart people, work on these issues, and I don't have to worry about it. And I would say that science is far too important to leave only to scientists. It's something that we all have to engage in. And that's why communicators are so important. They're that interface between the science and the science consumer. That's why classes like this are important.
It's one of those classes too that really facilitates other people talking to each other. It's probably my first class in 3 years of college where I know everyone's name.
So in this class we've got all kinds of students. We've got students that are science majors, we've got students that are communication majors. I think I had a physics student, I had a statistics student, some environmental science students, and a whole bunch, real hodgepodge from across the university. And I think what was interesting to me is to watch the science students struggle with the communication aspect, because everybody seems to think that that's easy, and it's really not. It's really, really hard. It's hard to do well. And for us to have that kind of conglomerate of different talent and different students from across the university seeing each other struggle with different aspects, I think was really healthy.
The class was a challenge, but it was really eye-opening and helped me kind of find a way to make things easier to talk about or explain to people.
It also gets a little more to what a university should be. The root word for university, uni, is whole, one. And the whole idea behind the university is we are going to bring all these elements of knowledge from across the world together into this one place of learning. And we do that, except when we bring it all there, then we fractionate it all again. We throw all these different knowledge fields into their own colleges, into their own departments, into their own silos, and then we don't talk to each other.
I really enjoyed scientific communication that was much more on the science end of things than communication, and I learned over the course of this class how my perspective might be flawed on that.
Then we came over here to the museum, and what we did is we looked at a professional exhibit, and we talked to museum people here about how that was put together, how that was constructed. We were able to get access to at least some of the people who came up with those exhibits and talk to them. And so students here analyzed those exhibits, and then they came up with their own ideas for what a science exhibit might look like. And then another assignment we did is we worked with Science on a Sphere. We learned to massage data into choropleth maps, which is a wonderful skill to have, regardless of Science on a Sphere or not. and put them up here on the screen behind me, and put data sets on them, and look at what is available for data to use out there. And so they had to take, I think it was 3 related data sets, and use them to anchor a story. And of course, that's the real challenge then. You can find the data. You might reach the technical hurdle of manipulating it on the sphere, but oh, by the way, you got to tell a story with it. One of the things that, I doubt my students will do much of, but I think was a really instructive piece was, we built TikToks to explain a scientific study, okay? And boy, if you ever see a scientific study, typically it's really, really fat, and it's really, really dense, and it's really, really boring. And if you see a TikTok, it's really, really short and fast, and hopefully engaging.
I think my jaw actually dropped because honestly, I was surprised that the professor was doing something this fun. But I was so excited because I've never done anything like this in any of my journalism or science classes before.
So we went over to the STEM building where a couple of MSU puppeteers are working on communicating science with puppets. And that was just a couple people that I happened to stumble over. And I said, hey, could I bring my class over there? And they said, fine. And then when I was looking at what they were doing, I said, well, could my class do something like this? And they said, oh, sure, that'll be easy. And I wasn't so sure. I mean, that was a pretty strong risk for us to take on whether we could communicate science with puppets. And so we went over there, and I didn't tell them what we were going to do until at the last minute. I had them working on a story, and I'm pretty much sure that they thought they were going to be working on a traditional text type story that everybody was going to contribute to. And I says, okay, we're over here, we're going to work on the story, and you can tell the story with puppets. And you wouldn't believe the jaws that dropped in that class.
And I think I learned way more about the topic from doing something funny, and kind of out of the box, like a puppet show, than I would if we did read a textbook on it.
But they were all game. They jumped for it, and they all began to brainstorm and talk to some of these puppeteers and asking what they could do and how they could portray the piece of the story that they were assigned to. But it was kind of interesting to me because there was one student. They were in groups of 3, and this student's other 2 partners didn't show up that day. So he was by himself, and he's trying to figure out what he could do. And I noticed that he was writing off by himself, and I went up to him and I asked him, hey, how are you handling this? What are you doing? And he says, well, my partners aren't here, so I'm not doing the puppet thing. He says, I'm writing a song. I'm writing a song about what I've been assigned. And I said, but that's not a puppet. And he says, no, it's not. And I said, and I don't care. So again, what I'm saying is it's not that platform, although different platforms attract people differently, but it's to find that common element of focus and engagement and explanation.
All the assignments were very creatively put together, like a TikTok, a sphere, like a puppet show. I liked that we got to play with a lot of different formats that weren't just writing.
Did look at a lot of platforms. If I were to teach this class again, we'd probably look at even other different platforms. So the idea isn't not so much to teach people a specific platform. I mean, I hope that they will learn this platform, and they learn enough that they could, if they wanted to learn more, they can. But the idea is to show that there are a lot of platforms out there. They're ever evolving, and whatever platform I teach you right now, 3 years from now, may well be obsolete, or you're onto another platform. So the idea is not to teach the specific platform, but to teach some of the common threads of science communication that run across them. I've been a professor here at MSU for 20 years, And I have to tell you, this class grew together unlike any other that I've taught before. And if I knew why, I would like bottle that and I would do it again and again and again. So it could be just the happy chance, the different personalities that were in this class just worked well together. It could be something as simple as that. But I think maybe some of it is you know, what I told students at the beginning of this class was something along the lines of, let's just have fun. You know, let's see if we can have fun doing this stuff.
Come on now! Kill all the lampreys, stack them 10 feet high. Kill all the lampreys, make them in a pie. Kill all the lampreys, those little Kill all the lampreys, it's a fish's lake.
It's been a fun community to be a part of for a semester, so.
End to a class.